Good morning, my friends, and welcome once more to our Sunday morning worship. Just as I'd got everything set up to record this morning, they've started turning the hay in the field, so you might have the background noise of the tractor, I'm afraid. But hey ho, we live in the countryside. It is summer and it's haymaking time, so I hope you can put up with that. It's good to be with you again. It was very good for me to be able to share with our Zoom home group on Monday evening. I'd been filling up the bird feeders in my garden and sat contentedly with a cup of tea early one morning, watching the birds come to feed and just enjoying their company. And then of course it dawned on me that the birds had only come because I was feeding them. And that made me think how, people will only come to church if they are being fed. And that made me think, so what is it that feeds our soul? And how do we feed our soul? And so we decided to talk about this a bit in our Zoom meeting. And Roy Williams, bless him, had done some homework. And he'd been looking at ways of feeding the soul. And somebody he'd found said that what feeds the soul is love, acceptance, attention, approval, significance. And we realised that these were all things that are mediated to us through other people. We may know the love and the acceptance and the approval of God and the significance that he gives to our individual lives, and sometimes we have a deep inner sense of that, and sometimes God uses other people to show us that. But feeding the soul in other ways, it was amazing how many different ways people had of feeding their own soul. For some it was Holy Communion that was really important and that they're really missing now, of course. For many, it's music that they find truly feeds their soul, and of course this will be a whole range of different kinds of music. For some, it was poetry or art, stillness and silence, reading the Bible, the Word of God. What else did we have? Being with other people and being out in the wide world, in the realm of nature, out in the countryside. Or even doing something creative and sharing in that creativity of God. So there's a whole variety of ways in which our souls can be fed. And somebody described it as being like lots of different strands that brought together form a rope or a strong cord that can bind us together.